So things were going incredibly well, and the chemistry was undeniable. But now, radio silence. And you're left wondering what went wrong? Well, is this person suddenly pulling away because they may have an avoidant attachment style? And I'll explain what that means. Or were they just not that interested in the first place and they were stringing you along? Well, we've probably all been there at some point, feeling this initial spark and excitement only to then be left hanging and second guessing every moment of the date and every text you sent. But if you don't recognize these early signs, then you could end up wasting your time and emotional energy on somebody who's literally not interested and not right for you, which could, of course, then lead to more confusion or heartbreak. So, in today's video, I'm going to take you through how to spot the key differences between avoidant behavior versus a true lack of interest so that you can move forward in your relationships with clarity and with confidence. Now, if you're new here, my name is Gibson. I am a coach, counselor, and author who has been working with individuals for more than a decade in the field of psychology, relationships, and attachment. Attachment theory, if you're not familiar, in a very brief encapsulated way, is a study of how your relationships in your upbringing in childhood actually affect your adult romantic relationships. And you can think of your attachment style as being like your love style. There are four major styles, and this research originally originated from Cambridge University with somebody named John Bowlby and has been studied for decades. I'll put a graph here if you're not familiar with the four attachment styles, just so you can see the four different ones. Now, the avoidant attachment style, what we're talking about today, is somebody who tends to retreat when they feel too strong of emotion, when things are moving too fast. And they generally try to actually keep people at arm's length as a way to protect themselves because they tend to be deeply afraid of vulnerability. So let's talk about six major differences between somebody who's just avoidantly attached versus somebody who is genuinely not interested. And we'll also include, some clear differences that somebody could be an avoidant attachment style who is interested versus somebody who's just purely not interested at all. And the sixth one, the very last one, might really surprise you. So, number one, if somebody is an avoidant attachment style, we have what we call initial enthusiasm, followed by intermittent periods of withdrawal. So, what you'll generally see in this particular case is somebody who's an avoidant may show true interest and excitement in the early stages, in fact, even on a date. But they may pull away when there's specific discussions about things that feel like they're just moving too quickly, or if there is too much expectation around texting and communication, because those will be sensitive points to them. That will be when they're like, this feels like it's moving too fast. They feel a little too vulnerable and they'll retreat. Somebody who's not interested, on the other hand, they generally won't show any true enthusiasm in the beginning. They may show like the tiniest bit of interest, or they may kind of respond to comments or a push forward. But generally, what you're going to see is that there's little effort to talk about you and get to know you and ask deep questions about you. Whereas an avoidant, you'll see that they generally try to have some sort of conversation like that. Like they will ask about you, they will try to get to know you. Sure, it may not be in like a super deep way, like tell me about your fears from childhood, but you'll see that they ask about you and they're trying to understand you so that they can see, like, could this person potentially be a good fit for my life? And generally, if they're just an avoidant, but they are interested, you'll see them be engaged on the date. It's really like the post date or the conversations that are moving too fast that you'll see them disengage around. Number two, communication patterns as a whole. Okay. So the dismissive avoidant may go through these periods in communication of silence, but it tends to be intermittent or after a moment of closeness. So what you will see is that they then do return sporadically and they will give reasons for their distance. They'll say it was because I was feeling overwhelmed, things like that. Somebody who's not interested, their communication is almost exclusively going to be responsive. Whereas a dismissive avoidant, when they are interested, you'll see them initiate communication. They may not be the best texters. They may not want to text all day throughout the day, but they will initiate, they will reach out, they will try to make plans with you sometimes, even if they are not the ones sending long paragraphs and really having deep conversations over text. Again, somebody who's not interested, they may respond from a place of politeness, but they're not really going to ever be engaging too meaningfully. Number 3, when we look at this one, this is the big one. Discussing emotional vulnerability. One dead giveaway from an avoidant attachment style is you will see them clam up a little bit or get clearly uncomfortable, visibly uncomfortable if they are asked really vulnerable conversations, especially early on, like in that dating stage of relationships. You'll generally see that when things get personal, they may kind of retreat or they may give surface level answers, but they will still show some level of like trying to communicate, trying to go there, even if it's uncomfortable. If somebody's not interested, you may find that this person actually has the bandwidth and capacity for emotional conversations that don't necessarily make them feel as uncomfortable as somebody who's an avoidant attachment style. But they're really, you may see them have those conversations with their friends, their family members, or talk about how they share those things with others, but they're not doing that with you. And so if they have capacity but not a willingness to engage in that way with you, then they're probably not interested in like building that type of quality of connection in a relationship dynamic. Number 4, slow to warm up. Dismissive avoidants are generally known for being a little bit slower to warm up. In fact, they may, in some particular cases, even seem a little bit standoffish. And part of this is often a temperament dynamic. So you may feel the sense of guardedness around them. You may see that they don't even necessarily engage in really deep or emotional ways with their friends, with their family members, with other relationships in their life. You'll even often see that they tend to not talk too much about their feelings. But somebody in a relationship dynamic who's just not interested, again, you will see that they have the capacity to do that. And yet they aren't doing that with you. So if somebody has the capacity to have emotional conversations, to be vulnerable, to open up, but they're just not moving that way with you or in your interactions, that is a really big sign. And in case you missed it, you can now reserve your spot and get more than a 50% early bird discount for our live relationship coach certification program. Launching October 28th, 2024, this 12-week program gives you the opportunity to build a new career, create your own thriving coaching practice, help your community, and secure your financial future full of abundance with a growing waitlist of clients. And the best part is that you get to spend a whole bunch of time with me as I teach you exclusive subconscious reprogramming tools and help you learn how to change somebody's attachment style from insecurely attached to securely attached so that you can truly help create transformation in people's lives and have a wait list of people waiting to work with you. We also have an entire business week about how to build funnels, systems, and to really build a thriving and busy practice. You can sign up using the link down below the video, and I can't wait to see you there. Number 5, future planning. I think this is such an interesting one because you will often see when it comes to future planning, if there is an avoidant attachment style and they're interested, they will make short-term future plans. They will make plans for this weekend or next weekend. They may not make plans for a vacation a year out or plans to move in immediately, but they will still make plans. I really want to put that out there. An avoidant, when they're interested, they're still going to make an effort. You're still going to hear from them. They're still going to reach out to you. It may be in less vulnerable ways. It may be a little bit inconsistent sometimes, but you will see that there are efforts and there are definitely efforts around short term plans. Somebody who's not interested, they're not making short term plans and they're not making long term plans. And you are seeing that they are not reaching out first ever. Whereas one of the big myths about avoidance is that they never reach out first at all. And that actually couldn't be further from the truth. How they reach out may be inconsistent. How they may reach out may be less vulnerable, but it's going to be happening if they're interested. And before I tell you number 6, I do want to let you know that if you are in a situation where you are wondering, how you can really thrive in dating with somebody of a different attachment style, I have a course you can check out fully for free just for a limited time. It's called How to Master the Dating Stage of Relationships. And it talks about how to connect with other attachment styles, how to better understand yours, your triggers, how to move through those things in dating so you're not feeling anxious or shut down or whichever attachment wounds or triggers you often have and are experiencing. And it teaches you the strategies to connect with people with different attachment styles while maintaining your needs, your boundaries, your non negotiables, so that you have these good standards going into relationships that can help you thrive in the future. Now, number 6, here's a big one, probably the most obvious. a history of relationships where this person clearly didn't open up. If you see an avoidant attachment style and you learn about their history of relationships and they often didn't open up or they often like weren't too vulnerable, or even if you ask them personal things about their ex and they kind of have these high level answers or seem to not even know that much deep information about other people they've dated, this could be a sign that they are an avoidant attachment style. Whereas if somebody is not interested, you're going to see that they had deep relationships, often long term committed relationships, perhaps, clearly know a lot of information about their exes or met their family or friends, and you're going to see that that's just not how they're operating with you. And so that is a really clear sign to pay attention to. If you enjoyed this video, stick around, click subscribe, hang out, join us for future videos in here. We talk all about attachment styles, dating, and the subconscious mind, how to really change our patterns. And I really hope you enjoy the video. And I'm so grateful that you stopped by to watch.